So as we enter a new beginning and a new future at Newcastle United, I thought it would only be right for me as a fan to give my thanks to Eddie Howe and everything he's done for this football club. Over the last 5 years, Eddie Howe has been everything that we as fans have wanted to see in a Newcastle United manager. When he first came in, he said he was going to give everything to make this club a better version of itself, and he's going to give the city something to be proud of. This was way back in 2021 when we had Mike Ashley as owner, Steve Bruce as manager. We were sitting 19th in the Premier League with no wins in 11 games and only 5 points to show. All we wanted was something to believe in. We've been deprived of ambition for so long, and to finally hear those positive words and somebody want to better the club was music to our ears. But that was only words. Could the results show? A resounding yes was the answer, but it wouldn't be easy for Howe. We had to wait until the 4th of December for a 1-0 win against Burnley at St James's Park, and would then have to wait again for another win on the 22nd of January against Leeds away. That win away at Leeds was the catalyst for change. That John Joe Shelby free kick changed everything, and that'll be the start of a 7-game unbeaten streak for Newcastle with 6 wins out of 7 and only 1 draw. That will be a total of 19 points that would totally transform the season for Newcastle. More big wins against the likes of Crystal Palace, Leicester and Wolves would be more than enough for Newcastle surviving relegation after what was probably one of the worst starts in the club's history. No team had actually survived after having the start that we had to that Premier League season. What was to come in the following season was something I could have only ever dreamt of. Champions League qualification and a cup final. Literally one season apart, and Eddie Howe took us from looking like a championship team to a Champions League team. People talk about winning trophies as a measurement for success, but for me, that turnaround in such a short space of time, that is miracle worker level. Sadly, the cup final didn't go our way on the day. We got beat 2-0 off Manchester United, but it was a sign that Newcastle were moving back to where they belonged, and our future was going to be challenging for silverware. Injuries dominate the following season, but we still managed to play Champions League football for the first time in 20 years. Again, sadly, that didn't go our way as we went out in the group stages after being completely robbed. Yet we still managed to achieve probably the greatest result in the club's history, an absolute hammering of PSG 4-1 at St James's Park, the first game back at St James's Park in 20 years in the Champions League. More memories that will live on with fans for the rest of their lives. Sadly, 7th place wasn't enough to qualify for Europe that season, but what was to come in the next season, nobody was prepared for. Not only in the 24-25 season would Newcastle achieve Champions League football again, but Eddie Howe would do the unthinkable, finally winning a trophy for Newcastle for the first time in 7 years, the Carabao Cup win at Wembley against Liverpool. Memories that will stay with me for the rest of my life. The happiest memories that I have supporting this club in over 30 years. That feeling of that this was our time and seeing us lift that trophy was a feeling I can never ever forget. I will always be so eternally grateful for that day and those memories. But unfortunately, a lot has happened since that day. Losing Alexander Isak the way we did, the public fallouts behind the scenes, the poor 12th place finish last season in the Premier League, the derby losses, the sign of regression and poor football in the team. I think time was coming to an end, and it's sad that it's ended the way that it has, and he hasn't had the proper send off that he deserves. For me, Eddie Howe will always be a legend of this football club, and I want him to be remembered for all the good things he did for this football club and this city. He believed in us from day one, and we've achieved things that we never thought we could achieve. And if it wasn't for Howe way back in 2021, our future could have looked a lot different. He's given us memories that's a lifetime, and he's made a legacy that will always be remembered. I just want to say thank you, Eddie Howe, for everything you've done for this football club, and the best of luck in the future.